Hello everyone, no respawns here. So I wanted to do another video of 5 mods. Not solely my top 5, because the last ones were my top 5. However, there are some mods here which I would definitely maybe prioritize other mods. However, 5 interesting mods that I've picked up over the last couple of days of playing around. Now, a couple of things. One, I have mentioned a couple of these before in other videos, but I just wanted them kind of concisely in one video. But I haven't actually done a kind of an actual showcase of them. And also, I don't necessarily use all of these. It's more mods that I've kind of gone, okay, this could be cool. So just to bear that in mind. Also, as always, you know, these things are often works in progress, so these mods will change and develop, especially with the mod developers who are putting huge amounts of hard work in bypassing Sony's rather knobby, but not surprisingly not as limiting as I thought limitations. Anyway, let's just jump straight into it. So the first mod, if you hadn't gathered already, is a mod called, well, it's the mod that changes everything with the grass here, which is called Simple Green. Now, I think this is actually one of the top-rated mods ever, which is weird. I like it. It's cool. It's cool. I just wanted to showcase this one because often many of you probably already know about it, but in case you haven't maybe actually tried it out, it basically covers what I assume are all of the muddy, well, most of the muddy areas. I don't know how they do it, but basically everything's covered with, you know, kind of these more autumn trees. I do like the fact they're autumn trees as well. It's a lot more colourful. And just covers the entire area with grass. Now, it's definitely quite dynamic. It's not actually the most dynamic mod I've got. I've got a more dynamic one. But I'm iffy about it, mainly because I like the mod, and I think it's definitely, if you just want a bit more of a colourful, you know, less, you know, bleaker experience, it's definitely a mod to go for. I just think it's one of those mods that could do with some tweaking. Often I feel as if, you know, I'm at Red Rocket for one, because it's next Sanctuary where I'm going to show off some of the mods, but also because this is a prime example of a lot of this area, I feel as if it shouldn't have grass on it. Like patchy, but I think, for example, like where I'm, like these parts here, I think should just be bare earth. Because obviously, you know, it's meant to look like it's overgrown. I feel it should maybe not be as expansive as it is. You could make it, what am I thinking of? What's that game? I can't remember. I'm thinking of a game, completely blanked my memory. The Last Odyssey? Something like that? Odyssey to the West? Odyssey to the West, yes. It was a game from a few years ago where it was basically kind of like a, not a post-apocalyptic game, but it was a post-apocalyptic game as such, where everything was basically just overgrown. And I think that's quite a nice setting, and it's quite an interesting idea. I imagine you could probably do it better ultimately on PC. Not a bad idea for a potential mod. Just kind of tweaking it so it kind of gives that vibe. But overall, cool mod if you want something a bit more green and wubbly. So number 2 is probably the most dynamic mod. I only actually just downloaded this one, and it's pretty cool. Again, it's one of those that I'm not sure if I would use, but I like the novelty of it, and I can definitely see it as a potential. I think it does need some tweaking as well, because the version I've got, some of the textures flash a little bit, but it just, to be honest, it might just be my load order, so apologies in advance for any flickering textures. But basically, it's called New PreWar Sanctuary PS4, and if you probably gathered already, what it does is it returns Sanctuary to its pre-war form. It obviously has some rather weird looking texture bugs, as you can see right there. Did you see that? Watch as I'll go back. It's only when it's load rendering in. That's quite weird. However, it looks, I was just blown away how dynamic and strange this one is. For starters, it makes Codsworth a pre-war Codsworth. I think there is, I haven't found it, but I think you might actually have a separate mod that does that as well, which is quite cool because he looks very dapper. But it's just insane. But you can see that a lot of the houses, in fact, are a little bit flashy, which it might be my load order. But the cool thing is, what you can do with this mod is, if that annoys you, is you can actually just scrap the entire houses. So I can just, 1 second, I can. And then it removes the actual pre-war part. Oh, it doesn't do it fully. Fair enough. You could do it to that one because it wouldn't stop flickering. It's, just have a look at it. It's insanely cool. It really was like, whoa. And also because I've actually already been doing some work on my Sanctuary. So it pretty much just, you've got my post-apocalyptic. I really like it. I think this would be a cool mod to maybe And my advice to maybe the mod developer potentially is to, rather than do it as one giant mod, but have it so there's a mod for each building. To make it so that way, for example, if I would love it if I could just have my house as this pre-war. I mean, look at it. It's really cool. Obviously, the lights don't work, but it's wow. And also, obviously, you've got the additions and changes that I've made. But it's just so cool. It looks a little bit weird because you've got my bed. I just installed this one a second ago, so obviously it's just gone over the top of my pre-existing building, but this is cool. This is cool. And I imagine if you start a new game, for example, and maybe if you got the load order correct so it wasn't flashing so much, this could be a really fun mod. Obviously, for example, like this building has been scrapped and I've just got my well, so I can't even go in that one. But then you've got this building here, and then I love the way it contrasts to my to the actual scrappiness of my pre-existing settlement as well. Obviously, the mod is definite, as you can see, it needs some tweaking because they've basically just copy-pasted it. In a lot of ways, I don't know how it works, but it's just basically just over the top. But it's funky. I think, can you go in every mod? You can't go in every house, which is a shame. Yeah, I think this mod would be definitely benefit from perhaps being kind of a bit more modular. A modular mod that allows you to maybe download specifically the Sole Survivor's house and that kind of thing. I'm stuck outside and I don't want to walk around, so I'm just going to go through this bus. It's grand. Anyway, that mod's cool. Highly recommend. I like this one actually quite a bit. So the third mod is, I did mention this one briefly actually in the last video. I think I even showed it, but I wanted to kind of give it its own little section, which is a mod called Only Clear Weather in the Commonwealth. As I said, I did mention in the last video, however, it's a complete lifesaver, especially if you want to build. As I mentioned, this is actually a new save, and I will be going to Far Harbour, for example, and I'm really excited to go to Far Harbour with clear weather. It just makes it permanently like this. Now, it's not to say I'm probably going to disable it when I'm maybe not building, perhaps. So, because, for example, I actually do like exploring the Commonwealth with, occasionally raid, and I actually quite enjoy radiation storms as well. They're good fun. Good fun of the old radiation storms. However, for just settlement building and just kind of, like, for just making videos, man. I mean, it's been pretty much an age-old story with me, but I really hate how crappy the weather is on areas like, Far Harbour is obviously the worst offender, but, when I'm going to Warwick Homestead, pretty much any of the, remember the Merkwater construction site video? So yes, definitely highly recommend Only Clear Weather in the Commonwealth. I believe the mod developer has a few other mods as well. I think there are mods that, for example, and maybe not the same developer, I've seen them, for example, that change the hue of certain radiation storms. It'd be interesting to maybe actually have mods which just permanently give you a certain kind of weather. For example, it would be quite fun to maybe have a survival playthrough where it's just a permanent nuclear storm. That could be quite fun. And so a mod that just turns on nuclear storms constantly. But yes, highly recommend Only Clear Weather in the Commonwealth if you like to build, and especially if you're a YouTuber who wants to make building videos without having to sleep and use those stupid fucking fireworks every 5 minutes. And then on Far Harbour, by the way, incidentally, the reason why the fireworks don't work properly is because the way the weather works is it will change. Certain areas are scripted, sorry, a bit rant here, certain areas are scripted to be a certain type of area. So in Far Harbour, what will happen is you'll launch a firework, you'll get about 15 seconds of clear weather, then it will go crappy again. And you could have fireworks launching constantly, but not only would that be very distracting, it would also be a massive resource hog. Anyway, next mod. So the next one is so mod number 4 is an actual building mod. And again, I haven't briefly mentioned this one as well, but didn't give it its own little showcase, which is called Static Baskets and Bins. Now, this is a really good little mod for just, one, these are actually pretty funky. I don't know if this is really going to build very well, is it, in this sanctuary? Maybe let's run to Red Rocket quickly. Well, I'll talk about it while we get there. So basically, this mod adds a load of... Actually, fuck it, let's just do it here. It's fine. We'll just kind of meander. It's because I've got this. There we go. Pro tip about the sanctuary building mods. It does fuck up with your building quite. The PreWar Sanctuary, you might not be able to build here very well. So pro tip, you might just have to... If you don't want to build Sanctuary, just get the PreWar Sanctuary mod. But basically what it does is it adds various different bins, shopping carts, boxes, and crates, which are static structures for starters. And so they're really, really good for decorating. They're actually amazing decoration because, you know, for example, you can have, if you're fiddly, you could have a beer crate full of beer bottles, boxes. It's just really cool. And then combined with the next mod I'm going to focus on, makes for just quite a useful little setup. And there are quite some cool ones as well. For example, I've already got ideas of using, you know, the shopping cart to be kind of glitch a turret inside, as per that you've probably seen around the various areas of the game. But also just things like, for example, there we go, I've done it over here actually. I mean, I know some of these are also in the Unlock Settlement Items mod, but these seem to work a little bit better because they're exclusively made of containers. For example, I put a burnt mannequin inside a shopping cart. And also, the way the clipping seems to work, okay, it's a really bad example, but as you can see, it's a bit more generous. So, for example, I've actually used these, for whatever reason, they just seem to have a nice, like, a bit more nicer clipping, so you can just kind of just shove them into structures. So I've been actually using these to decorate quite a bit as well. So definitely, it's a small mod, very small one, but I like the attention to detail the mod developer has made for just the functionality of these items is really, really good. So can highly recommend the static bins mod. And the final mod, and probably one of the definite now top mods, a lot of you probably know exactly what I'm going to mention now, is we now have OC Decorator on PS4. Now, this mod is fantastic, and the way it works, you know how I quite like these beer crates for being static items, and I did briefly show it in the last video as well, actually, but again, I wanted to kind of give it its own little showcase, is we now have, and plus I've actually been playing this game a lot, so I actually have now a load more items. But basically, the way this works is you'll have any item you pick up, you can then find it, or you can, you know, use Freebaker or something to make the item. You can then find it inside its own little menu. So you've just got the OC Decorator. You've also got a DLC version as well. I'll put the links to all these mods, by the way, in the description. You've got OC Decorator, and this basically is divided by certain sections, and then you can basically just go through it. And it's got, quite simply, every single item you will, I imagine they are always adding to it, but it's basically everything. Now, a lot of them you will require to actually own the item. A few of the items you don't need to. I just think maybe it's stuff that you can't pick up. If I can try and find an example. It's all the ammo. Oh, actually, no, you do have to actually own the ammo. I'm sure there was, yeah, the tech one, I think. There we go, so there we go. So a lot of them, for example, stuff you can't pick up. So it's almost, in a way, it's kind of an expanded version of mods that we've already had before. More in terms of, like, a lot of it is just more settlement items, effectively. It's just quite cool, like Brilliant Agitator. Loads of really funky little weird stuff that can just add so much detail. The deep range transmitter, distress pulsers, things. It's just, there's so much stuff. Now, did mention my brief in my last video, and the reason why I also wanted to give this mod some attention. Now, I didn't figure this out, so I'm going to not show you how to do it, I'm just going to tell you. So you know the issue I had with shelves? I'm not going to show you how to do it, you'll have to go to another video to do this. Just find a freaking shelf, just stupid mod. So I mentioned this before, how you can't put certain items. In the last video, those who don't know, and watch it for whatever reason, because you're a bastard, is you're going to have issue where you can't move stuff down, especially kind of some stuff on shelves. So the way it works with the manual placing of items, Stacy Plays Fallout did a really clever video on how to actually perfectly decorate your shelves to make them look to make them look packed, but also so because my idea was to, you know, rug glitch them on so they wouldn't actually be technically resting on the shelf. She's just figured out how the shelves worked. I would have figured it out eventually. Stacy, probably not. I probably wouldn't have filled it. But I'm going to leave a link. It already would have been a link up. But definitely check her video out because it's pretty much, she just solves the problem. So now you can have shelves covered in junk. I haven't got around to doing it yet because I've been too busy building up my sanctuary, which incidentally I will be doing a tour of, don't you worry, very soon. So yeah, check out Stacey Plays Fallout's video. It is incredibly helpful, and it will show you how to decorate your shelves using OCD Decorator and make them really packed. I'm going to be using it myself when I actually get round to filling up the inside of these houses. Let's quickly just check inside here. I've never seen the inside of this house. Oh, this looks a bit crap, I guess, because it doesn't actually have a pre-existing interior. That's another thing the mod creator needs to make. Hope you guys found that interesting. The mods are kind of flying as thick and fast right now. So many funky mods, to the point where I'm getting a teeny bit overwhelmed. Every time I think I understand what we have, one of the mods gets updated, which suddenly has loads of new functionality. Don't know why I'm just going on the roof, why not? But then also a couple of new mods get added, so I'm just kind of like playing quite a reactive game in Fallout right now, where I'm just making something and I'm like, oh, all right, now I can make something better. Grand. Anyway, I'll have another video up soon. As always, follow me on Twitter at norespawns. Want to see I'm up to? Send me your modded shit. Send me mod links of mods you found as well. There's still a few that I'm holding out, maybe a couple of days more until I do my wish lists on mod, which don't appear to be arriving just yet. However, I will talk to you lovely people soon. You take care.